What do you do? What do you do when your back is up against the wall? What do you do when the weight of the world is on your shoulders? What do you do when all hope is gone? What do you do when there's nowhere else to go? What do you do when there's nowhere else to look? What do you do when there's nowhere else to turn? What do you do when there's nothing else to do? What do you do when there's a fork in the road? What do you do when you get tired early in the morning and the alarm clock rings? What do you do when everything around you is going against you? What do you do when the world is telling you to stop? What do you do when you are going through trials and tribulations? What do you do when you are going through mess-ups and slip-ups? What do you do? What do you do when you cry? What do you do when everybody else starts to walk away and turn their backs on you? What do you do when everything looks hopeless? What do you do when you start to make a difference? What do you do when you have the strength to carry on? What do you do when you have faith? What do you do when somebody is there to help you stand? What do you do when you see the light at the end of the tunnel? What do you do when you start to feel better? What do you do when you have the victory? What do you do when you have the power and the authority to raise your voice? What do you do when you know that your voice still matters? What do you do? What do you do when you know that you are special each and every day in each and every single way of your life? What do you do when you know that you are loved and worth fighting for? What do you do when you have the wings to fly? What do you do when you know that you have everything you need? What do you do when everything else fails but you know when to stand? What do you do when you start to connect, grow, serve, and go? What do you do when you know that you can? What do you do when you know that you will? What do you do when you know that you deserve better? What do you do when time is running out? What do you do when everybody else gives up on you? What do you do when you can't find a way through? What do you do when you can't find a way out? What do you do? What do you do when you have decided to move forward to your destiny? What do you do when you have decided to do more than you could ever imagine? What do you do when you know that you are greater and stronger than you think? What do you do when you know who you are? What do you do when you start walking into your season of victory? What do you do when you know that you can do anything that you can put your mind into? What do you do when you have decided to never ever look back? What do you do when you are at your best? What do you do when you are at your worst? What do you do when you've done the best you could do? What do you do? What do you do when you know that you have a responsibility to be responsible and accountable? What do you do when you make it to the finish line? What do you do when you know that you are more than enough? What do you do when you have found the courage and strength you need? What do you do when you know that you are an overcomer? What do you do when you know that you are more than a conqueror? What do you do when you know that you can push and press your way through? What do you do when there is nothing else to hold on to? What do you do when nothing works? What do you do? What would you do? Would you stay bound, or would you keep staying strong? Would you be able to help somebody to make their day brighter? Would you be the one person that's going to get up out of that bed, that's going to get up out of that living room and show them who they really truly are? Would you be the one person that's going to stand up and say, no matter what I had to go through, I'm going to make it? Would you be that person? Would you be the one person that's going to get up and start walking boldly and brave without any regrets? Would you be the one person that would be able to make it through? What would you do? My brothers and sisters, would you listen to the optimists or the pessimists? Would you tell others the good news, or would you tell others the bad news? Would you be a gossiper of the bad news, or would you be a reporter of the good news? Would you give up, or would you move forward? Would you do the right thing or the wrong thing? What would you do? Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, and friends all over the world, my answer to you is to keep going, keep staying strong, move forward, go and be great. Get up out of your seat. Get up out of that bed. You may be at home. You may be at your job. You may be driving in the car. You may be going to the grocery store. You may go to a shop. You may go to a place where you can shop at. But right now is your time to show the world what it looks like to be victorious and triumphant. You are amazing and perfectly loved just the way you are. You can do it. And I believe in every single one of you. So don't wait until the week is over. You can start today. Right here and right now. Let's go.